things just so they could feel like they were getting away with something. She even liked walking half asleep through the gravel to use the bathroom. "I want to have it ready by next weekend," he said, opening the rest of the windows, which pushed out like the windows in old schoolhouses. She opened the door to the tiny bathroom, feeling enormous, and sprayed bleach on the walls, the sink, the toilet. He went through the cabinets to see what the woman had left behind: a can of artichoke hearts, a cracked bar of soap, an empty carton of cigarettes, lined them up on the counter where she had probably made her sandwiches. Then he opened the refrigerator and removed an empty bottle of vodka and a jar of pickles. She threw the stuff in a garbage bag and went back to the bathroom and sprayed more bleach. She thought about the drug addict shows she liked to watch on television, how they sold their bodies, how they had run out of veins for shooting. She was glad she wasn't a drug addict. After a few hours of this, she said she was finished and went inside and got in the shower. He got in with her and they soaped each other up and washed each other's hair. He was the only man she'd ever been with who liked to shower with her, who didn't think taking turns under the water was too much trouble. When they were clean and dressed, their wet hair brushed back, she opened a can of beer and drank it while sitting in the middle of his king-sized bed. "Play me Highwayman," she said, bouncing up and down. He was tired of playing Highwayman, but he sat at the piano and played it anyway. She closed her eyes, imagining herself a sailor and a dam builder and a single drop of rain, listening to his voice strain with feeling. She would die, but she would not be gone. She liked the idea of this. When he was almost finished, and she was thinking about asking him to play it again, there was a knock at the door. He froze, his hands above the keys. "It's Coach," she said, falling back, the can on her stomach. Other than his tenants, Coach was the only person who ever came over unannounced. Coach was an alcoholic PE instructor, a former baseball player who had maintained an array of near-debilitating superstitions. He wore certain clothes on certain days. He was always looking for wood to knock on. He had a fear of red cigarette lighters. She had once seen him take a stranger's red cigarette lighter off a table and throw it as far as he could. She listened to them talk in booming voices. Then he came back and closed the door, opened his closet, and took the brick of marijuana from his safe. She liked how careful he was, pinching it between his fingers, measuring it on the scale. She liked the way it came packaged tightly in a cellophane slab, and she liked how he carried it in his fake leather motorcycle jacket that said USA on the back of it when he made his runs to Murfreesboro. But she didn't smoke his pot or ride on his motorcycle. She wanted to do these things, but then she couldn't tell him not to do them. "Are we still going to the drive-in?" she asked. "I'm going to smoke with Coach first," he said. He closed the door behind him and she laid there and thought about his ex-girlfriend, who was pregnant. She had recently seen a picture of this ex-girlfriend at his parents' house on the mantel, and been surprised to find her small, with flat brown hair and round glasses. She had imagined her tall and thin, swooping around his kitchen with her long hair swinging, fucked up on pills but still able to prepare a delicious meal that conformed to his Atkins diet, clean the kitchen, and pack his lunch for the next day. She thought about his ex sending him the ultrasound picture. Sad it wasn't his baby, and then she went back to worrying about her weight, which went up and down and up and down, and her skin, which was broken out along the jawline. She had this little machine that had a hot tip, and she'd hold it to her pimples and it would beep every 30 seconds, and her boyfriend would ask if she was playing video games in there. She went out to the garage and sat on the steps, surrounded by a mountain of stuff he said he'd get rid of if she moved in, but she couldn't see herself living in his house. It was too much his. She thought of the shards of glass in her palms when she did push-ups in the morning, the thin green carpet and broken chairs. There was nothing he was willing to change in order to have her. She lit a cigarette and stood in the driveway, looking in the kitchen window of the middle unit where the man in the wheelchair lived. She would never see his face in that window, looking back at her. Next to him, there was a new tenant named Mr. Skeet. Mr. Skeet had a truck that didn't run, so she couldn't tell when he was there or not.